Hey guys, welcome back. Happy Monday. It's mid-July. If we haven't met, I'm Mayer Cunningham, Special Education Boss. And listen, if you're enjoying this, wherever you're watching, seeing, hearing from, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, share the channel, and give us an I love you so much to the channel. Is that an option, Cindy? I love you so much.
I love you so much.
So much. Yeah. So it's good to be home for 3 seconds. My owls have been moved. Yeah, I'm home 11 days in July. That's not very many. So, but I do love a good airport. So, Cindy, do we have questions, comments, concerns? Do people want to know where we're going all July and August and all the things?
I am sure everybody wants to know everything about anything. So where is the next place you're going?
So I'm going to Nashville tomorrow for a training, and then we will be Saturday in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's called Possibilities, and they said there'd be over 150 vendors, and Bowling Green is about an hour away from the Nashville. So, I've missed y'all too. So come on down, and then the next week, I will be doing a private event, doing stand-up for a private group in Biloxi, Mississippi. And then we head back to Nashville the 25th to 29th. We will be at ISS, not like you guys got in high school, but Innovative School Summit. They're an amazing entity. They do 5 events a year: San Antonio, Nashville, Vegas, Orlando, and New York. And so this is their Nashville one at the Gaylord. So that'll be the 25th or the 29th. You can still get tickets. Amazing. New York. And so this is their Nashville one at the Gaylord. So that'll be the 25th or the 29th. You can still get tickets. Amazing.
Excellent.
There you go.
And they love the blue. And now I know what color is best for headshots, which is blue.
Yes. And this lipstick, it's, I think everybody wants to know. I'm pretty sure that Alan asked. It's Estee Lauder, and guess what it's called, Alan? Powerful. So if you're going into a meeting and you want them to listen to you, we're powerful.
Excellent. Where in Mississippi?
So it's a private event, but it'll be at the Beau Rivage Casino and Hotel.
So there is a question.
Yeah.
I'm a sped para, and I had a 7-year-old that threatened my life in admins too. Do we hold them to punishing sped to the same extent for threats? Is it if it's in their IEP? If it's not in their IEP, how do we know what to do?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So a 7-year-old made a terrorist threat. And so we don't punish children in school. We respond if something requires consideration for discipline, whether they're a student that receives 504 services or a general ed student or a student who also receives special education services. So first, if they're a student that receives special education services and they have had a terrorist threat, and it's something that obviously the principal is going to have to call, a hearing over, and we'll have an MDR, manifestation determination resolution meeting. And so that meeting has 2 questions, right? Did this behavior, is it likely tied to or causation of their known disability? And number 2, is this a failure of the district to implement the IEP? Those are both big questions. But bottom line, no matter what the school decides, is we have to teach that student a replacement for that action, right? We can't go around saying that. We also can't wait till something bad happens. And so we have a duty and an obligation to respond to that, of course, when it occurs. And then after that meeting, no matter the outcome, you're certainly going to be required to begin the process for an FBA, a functional behavior assessment, and to look at this, if this is a new behavior, how do we address it? What sort of supports and services does that student need?
Excellent. We have a child that qualifies for expressive only and PT. Do we have to offer ECSE, ARDC decision, but no educational need?
Well, there's already an educational need.
But no educational need.
Well, there's already an educational need. We look to see if there's one of the federal eligibilities. Additionally, a student to be able to participate in ECSE must always qualify for speech impairment. So you've got that. And so I would ask for an evaluation to see if there's an educational need that would be primary to these two related services.
Ooh, are there any professional development conferences for paraprofessionals?
So we're going to have a summit on that because we don't know what we don't know. And most of us, we've been told stuff that is not true. What do you call that, Cindy? What do you call it when people tell you stuff that's not true?
An untruth or a lie.
An untrue. What do you call that, Cindy? What do you call it when people tell you stuff that's not true?
An untruth or a lie.
And they're not connected. If you do have an IEP, you might qualify for VR services. So let's say that you still have skills maybe in executive functioning or follow through or understanding that new role you're in, going from being in school to maybe you have 3 managers. Maybe Alan has given you a directive to work on this area, and then Sally walks by the other manager and says, leave that, come with me. And so sometimes that's really hard for kiddos to understand. And so you would ask for vocational rehab services. It depends on where you are. In Texas, they're with the ARC. And then somebody from that agency would go with that student to job settings, because after you're 18, unless they participate in the 18 to 21 program, I can't just show up with, this is our advocate, show them your IEP. But those students still need supports as they're learning those soft skills and job expectations.
A parent has called an addendum to the current IEP. The parent wants to change hours from a half a day to a full day. Thoughts?
The parent wants to change it to a half day?
No, the parent wants to go from a half day to a full day.
Is it a half day because they're 3 or 4 or 5 years old?
That is a great question.
It's a great question. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So there's a requirement to implement the IEP as agreed upon. If your student is in kindergarten or up, then we write an IEP for the instructional day. There's a lot of kiddos that go half day for ECSE, and those parents would like that student to be at school full time, but we have to see if that's appropriate because we don't want to put too much on little kids. So Katrina says first grade. So there's, Katrina, did you agree to a half day for your first grader? We will wait until yes, in the beginning.
Yes, one thing came in, it says, can I suggest increments or do I just give them what they want? So I think she might be the educator.
So it's not about what they want, it's a requirement, right? Kindergartners go to school for all day. So would a student that receives special ed services. So I'd make sure that we have an IEP meeting a week or 2 before school starts and make sure that that's completely filled out and populated, and we have the right supports and services for that student to be successful for a full instructional day.
And she does apologize. It's glitching on her side, also my side as well, Katrina. So I understand. What do you think qualifies a student under orthopedic impairment?
That they do not ambulate in the normed and average range.
Any words to help me advocate for my child?
Oh, words. We have a book. This is the best book that you'll ever read on IEPs. So go get this. It's in the TikTok shop, or you can get it at the epic-iep.com, but it's right there in the TikTok shop. This is the 7-part framework that I use to write an IEP, whether I'm in Alaska or Miami. And once you read this, you'll be able to write those 7 components. More importantly, the why of those components. And this will give you what you need to get started.
Ooh, look at that. It just popped up at the bottom.
It did?
Pretty cool. Yeah.
You didn't do that?
Epic IEP book and the workbook.
Oh, yeah. We just came out with the workbook because raise your hand if you love a workbook. Raise your hand if you like highlighters and stickers and tabs.
Oh,
yeah.
Tabs. Let's see. My phone glitched out and I did not hear the answer to my question about PT expressive.
Yeah, so there's already an educational need if the student is receiving physical therapy and has a speech impairment in expressive I would ask for a full evaluation to see if there's an educational eligibility that would be primary.
Okay, I'm not sure if I understand this. So for the question that said, what do you think qualifies a student under orthopedic impairment? It then says, I am fighting with the school on what is qualified under what?
Yeah, so an orthopedic impairment is that your student, when they ambulate, may need assistance and their ambulatory skills are not in the normed and average range.
And that would be OI?
Yep, OI, orthopedic impairment. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Glitching. Yes. What do you think about conditioning access to inclusive activities in lieu of services?
What? Conditioning activity. I don't know what a conditioning activity is unless you're getting ready for the Olympics. I don't know what that means.
Right? Something I would not be doing myself unless it was shopping. Okay. Well, if we could have more Big B, that would be great. The school advised they will schedule an MDR. However, I still have not received a date or updates. Thoughts?
Squeaky wheel gets the oil. Dear Alan, thank you for letting me know we're having an MDR. Haven't received the notification. 3 hours later, Alan, looking forward to the invitation to the MDR. The next day, I just pick up the phone. No point in your way saying Alan could be on a cruise somewhere. So I would call the district and say, it's imperative that we have my child's MDR. Can you tell me what that date is that you're offering?
Hi, can I ask any?
Oh, hold on. So somebody said not allowing extracurricular activities because services trump activities. So Big B, when you say extracurricular activities, do you mean an extracurricular activity that's tied to curriculum and or a grade like marching band, football, ROTC? Yeah, and that's one of the problems. Unified sports not allowed because services are required. So I'm not sure what unified sport is. That like a travel league?
Special Olympics, typically.
Okay. So Special Olympics are not part of IDEA. They're amazing, and they're not tied to grades. It's wonderful that school districts usually host them, but there's no requirement for the district to provide IEP supports during that program.
Hi, can I ask any IEP questions on here?
You can ask whatever questions you want.
I'm in Pinellas County, Florida, and I'm very nervous of all the school closures. What is going to happen?
Not sure what you mean by all the school closures. So Cindy, you're a great Floridian. What do you think that means?
That means that the enrollment is drastically dropping and down, and most counties are on their second go rounds of shutting many or closing many schools or condensing them together. And families are worried that they will no longer be at their home campus, but will have to move.
Yeah, so we were, I don't know, it was Stephanie or Alan or somebody and I were talking to, the numbers in public school are down. They're just down. They went down when COVID started. And now, because of COVID, I think a lot more educational products have popped up, whether it's online, whether it's hybrids, whether it's co-ops for homeschooling. And, we were just at an event with Innovative School Summit, and there were people that had full curriculum and supports for kiddos. A lot of our kiddos did better that were neurodiverse during COVID because they could focus and they weren't distracted by all their friends in school, right? A lot of stuff happens in school that takes up a lot of time. And so people are, looking at different options. They're going private, all sorts of things. So schools are closing if they don't have the students to populate them.
Can a private school decide what advocate I use?
Nobody on the planet can decide what advocate you use. There's not IEPs at private schools, though. So that would be like you bringing a stranger to the meeting, which wouldn't be a requirement because private schools are schools of choice.
School said no ESY in retention, not no compensatory education for a kid missing 160 days due to a disability access barriers. Thoughts?
So I don't know what the disability access barrier is. Like, did the student have like onset seizures or something like that? Or are you saying that they're in a wheelchair and there was no ramp? I'm just need more information around that.
Okay, fantastic.
I love all these names of people. Like, they're so clever. I like the big B, which I think that's how people describe me sometimes. The big ba-bam. Don't you think, Cindy, that's what they mean?
I think it's Big Boss. Let's see. I jumped. Thoughts on the law in Florida for related services to notify families on missed services?
Do I have thoughts on it? I mean,
Yes.
if that's the law, if that's a higher level provision than IDA requires, so, that sounds good to me.
Let's see. Moving back from overseas after never using an IEP, what do I do?
So you would go in the TikTok shop right here and get this book. It will change your life. It just came out, the Epic IEP. Talks about the process, the parts, and the amazing student and how they can be successful. So it's right here in the TikTok shop.
Excellent. He needs therapy and my insurance is awful. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. There's no IEP in private schools, you said. Are there IEPs in magnet schools?
If the magnet school is in a county, city, or district, then yes. If it's a public school, they receive funding from IDEA and are bound by those obligations.
What was the trio of books again?
So the book is the Epic IEP, right? And so if you look in the TikTok shop, there's the Epic IEP, there's an Epic IEP workbook, there's the Epic IEP paraprofessional, and the Epic IEP federal law and state guidelines.
Excellent. Let's see. Paraprofessionals. What is the book on paraprofessionals?
So we wrote a book on paraprofessionals because of all the, what is it called? What is the word you said?
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
It's just lying. We love paraprofessionals. They change my son's life. They change all the lives of the kiddos that I get to advocate for. And we had it happening a little bit before COVID, but since COVID, we've just put the faucet on full blast, and we are purposely hiring paraprofessionals. We've just put the faucet on full blast, and we are purposely hiring paraprofessionals. Authorized that the whole thing has changed. They might change a comma or something else. And then additionally, we put in there all of your state crosswalks. So when somebody goes, oh, Karen, we don't do that in Michigan. You do, Bob. You do right here. And it's the most questions that we get, which is why we're going to have a training and a summit around it. Because we want people to know, right? We don't want educators or special educators putting their credentialing in play because they are doing a behavior that somebody in the ivory tower at the school district told them it was okay. It's not okay. It's illegal. And so it is all in the book. And so, we had what we say, we have the book. We should take a look.
I love that. Let's see. Student has PO for the missing 160 out of 180 days. The student had PTSD and couldn't get on the bus. No alternative transportations or services were offered to help.
And so the district is not required to add specialized transportation if the transportation that they have meets the requirements of IDEA, and a special ed bus would meet that. I certainly have empathy for you that there are kids that are just frozen, right? They just can't get to school. but that is not a failure of FAPE on the school district's part. I think what I would do, if that need is still in play, is I would request an IEP meeting to look at out-of-district placement at the expense of the district, because we do have an obligation to educate students, and sometimes in their educational career, they are not successful in public school. And public schools are amazing, but they're not hospitals, they're not psychiatrists, they're not changing meds, they're not giving you 4 hours of counseling a day. So that would be my next step.
MDR was supposed to be in May of 2026. He is not returning to the school. Will I have to go back for it?
You have to have the MDR. That has to occur. Is he graduated? Are you going to keep him home forever? Is he in 11th grade? What do you mean he's never going back?
That's J. Addison if it comes in on the bottom. Can anxiety and panic attacks be on an IEP? Washington State.
So anxiety and panic attacks are characteristics of conditions in the DSM-5. So anxiety or panic attacks would probably meet the educational eligibility of ED. So certainly if they rise to the level of needing specially designed instruction and preventative measures, we can add that in there as well.
My son has an IEP that hasn't been reported on since the second quarter of last year. The director said wait until the fall because the teachers are on vacation right now. Thoughts?
Oh, do I have thoughts? Good news is wherever your data is at the district. So I would go to legal and ask for open records. There is a requirement that the parent of the disabled child receives those progress reports commensurate with when all children receive report cards. So if that didn't exist and occur, that is a denial of a free appropriate public education.
I want my child to receive his minutes being pulled out, and the school wants push in. How do we determine this?
I always ask the question back to the school-based members. Can you tell me the meaningful benefit of push in over pull out services, right? So what are we doing in LRE? We were always looking at two things, right? Meaningful benefit and harmful effect. And that's not just if the child's removed from the classroom. That's another bad training. We know that there's always a harmful effect if a student receives special ed services, even if it's just for one class from a paraprofessional. Why? Because that student is identified by the other students. You can tell that they need more help. So we're always juggling those two pieces. Often when I want, years ago, 12, 15 years ago, I couldn't get a child in general ed. Couldn't get them in general ed. But now, we're just going to put everybody in general ed and then we're going to blame the child. I said that. So I believe for children to be accountable, but not for the failure of adults. So states receive federal money. IDEA is a federal grant program. That's it. It's a federal grant program. And so I understand that sometimes it's not successful in certain settings, but we have an obligation to educate them in the most appropriate setting. And so often I'll have kiddos that are 2, 3, 4 years behind in reading, and they're like, we want them to stay in reading class with his friends. He's going to miss his friends. Actually, no, he won't be embarrassed when it comes time to group reading. It needs to be in resource so he can work on those targeted deficits. So I would just say it sounds like, Cindy, you're about to screen share the data that supports your recommendation. So you guys write that down. It sounds like you're about to screen share the data that supports that decision. If there's no data, we can't make a decision.
We are going to be collecting new data to support decisions that we have made. How long, realistically, should I allow them to collect the data before we come back together to see if it's meaningful?
Well, the data is meaningful, right? If we collected it, it's meaningful if we can interpret it. And so it sounds like you're going to collect data to see if the new thing we rolled out or the new initiative or the new setting worked. And so I would go a grading period, not much longer than that, because if it's not working, we don't want to just go, oh, there's half the year, right? So 9 weeks, I would come back.
Awesome. How long into the new school year should we wait before letting our teacher know we feel our son has reading needs?
Before school starts. If your child had medical needs, would you wait to tell the teacher? The quicker we intervene, the quicker we can support that student.
It took 3 years for schools to be placed in special education, elopements off property, and denial of FAPE, and due process. Oh, I thought there was a question. I'm sorry. We'll see if there's more coming in. It looked like it spaced out. Let's see. Data is useless if support staff does not demonstrate how to put it into action. I love when they put it into action. Very nice. Very good. Okay. Oop, hang on. It jumped.
When it does that, does it say, jump, jump? Does it do that? It does not.
It knocks me out, and then it brings me back in, and it brings
Is
me
it like
back
this?
up to the first one.
Come here, get away. Come here, get away.
Yeah, and say
It
that.
says we should invite Rachel.
Absolutely.
She's probably pirouetting in the backyard. In purple.
In purple. Absolutely, it would be in purple. Who are you expecting to be there for summer meetings if the child is entering kindergarten?
Who said anything about a summer meeting?
Good question. Gina.
Yeah, so what I said was I would notify the teacher. We wouldn't call a meeting. We want teachers to have their summer off.
Yes, absolutely. And I think what a little blurb reading into is that they are questioning if their child has a reading issue and didn't know if they should bring it up straight.
Well, straight away I would come in and ask for an evaluation.
Yes. Let's see. Can we ask for some services during the summer?
So services during the summer are provided to students that are on an IEP. It's called ESY, Extended School Services, and we determine as a committee without these services, the student will not be successful. And there's 2 prongs. Number 1, do we have documented regression on IEP goals with a profound amount of time to recoup that skill? Number 2, concern for loss of critical skills. They rarely bring up that second prong, and so we want kids to have their summer off too. But if we know that if he doesn't have those summer services, to some measure, the loss would be too profound.
We do want the summers off. I have a son here that would beg to differ, and we had such a great ESY here.
Does he get dressed and go outside, wait for the bus?
Oh, every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
And I have to make sure I have the keys so that way he cannot get in the car because it's 110 degrees. So
do you have a visual schedule of how many more days till it starts?
Yes.
I knew you
did.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot, but he wants to then take the marker
and help you out.
Off.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes. Maybe he'll probably do that for Christmas. Why wait?
Oh,
he's like your special ed advent calendar.
Absolutely. Okay, let's see. I'm worried for when my G-tube fed autistic 2-year-old starts school. Our school doesn't like IEPs. Anything that I should do now?
I would front load them. We're excited about him being tested at 2.5 for consideration for special education with a comprehensive evaluation for ECSE. Whether you like IEPs or don't like IEPs, they're like oxygen. It's a requirement.
If a special education, if the SPED support in the room refuses to interact with the students, who would take responsibility for that?
Well, first, I'd want to know how you know that information. We have to interact with students. How can we teach students we don't interact with? But I would verify that information, and then I would call a meeting with the principal. Because if you're not interacting with my student, you couldn't be able to teach him. That's what we do at school. We teach children things.
We do. Our son never gets approved for ESY. Why do you think that is?
You may not have a really good advocate. The people that I advocate for have great language, great articulation, great commitments to the law and the truth. But there's some school districts that are not going to listen to your needs without an advocate supporting you. And that's just unfortunately the way it is.
Oh, Mikey's so fortunate, isn't he? Child is 9 years old, can't read still. It's been repeatedly denied FAPE for all of the current year. What do I do next?
So if you believe that he's been denied FAPE, then you would write a robust state complaint identifying those areas that weren't delivered, whether it's failure to reconvene an IEP to make adjustments, inappropriate IEP goals, insufficient present levels, inadequate schedule of services. And there should be on your state, there's probably like a little guidance of how to fill out a state complaint. And we have a digital product on our website, Special Education Academy, that walks you through how to write a robust state complaint.
How hard will it be to get school for a half a day with 2 kids on IEP?
So I would never recommend that a child goes half day unless there's some profound medical reason. And then I would put them on half homebound, half school. But if you reduce your child's day to a half day, let me tell you, love, the district has no obligation to deliver FAPE. If the instructional day for that student for that year is a full day and you remove them for part of that day, even if the school suggested it, they have no obligation to deliver FAPE because an IEP is written for the entire instructional day.
Can a child with ADHD be put in special education simply because of their grades?
So good, they're not put into special education. They receive special education services. So if there's an academic need, a behavioral need, emotional need, a functional need, an attending need, a completing need, a sustaining need, and that exists during the instructional day, then they could receive those services.
Let's see. My child has Tourette's syndrome. They didn't want it on his IEP. I insisted on it, and I am glad I did. It protected him from being, and there's one word missing.
Yeah, that's great. And if you don't know already, the Tourette's Association of America.org, TAA.org, amazing entity, amazing. They have actually national outreach. So if you have a child that you're teaching or you're the parent of a child with Tourette's, their state associations will come to your school district, county, or city and do a presentation for those teachers for them.
My son is nonverbal, but he can read. But he's the only one in his class who can. What can I do about this?
So we need to figure out why he can't read, and I would call it meeting to address that. I'm going to read a statement that Gina wrote, and she said, no, you can have a half day, especially if the child is violent. So I'm going to coach you on this, Gina. If the child is violent, are they only violent the half the day you pick them up? So picking a child up that has an educational need does not teach them a skill. And you just trying to brace yourself for half the day is not successful for anybody. And so we have the ability in school districts to teach children who have profound behavioral needs, but sending them home is teaching learned dependency.
Hey there, what can I do as a teacher if my school refuses to fulfill the IEP and then lies to the parent? I feel very uncomfortable.
I guess they're the teacher. It sounds like they're the teacher.
Yes.
So we love teachers. You would have to get that information, and I would just say, can we sit down and go over his IEP progress reports and how we're collecting that data and see if that gives you some information to move forward on that.
If they need a modified day, they need a higher level of placement, correct?
So if they need so there's no such thing as a modified day in IDEA. There are placements, a continuum of placements. There are special schools. They're your home campus. They're self-contained. There's a resource. There are intensive medical need units. There are autism units, behavioral units, life skills units. So a modified day would be because the student can't tolerate school. If a student has profound behaviors and he is violent, as somebody indicated, then I would say we need to sit down and have a conversation about out-of-district placement at the expense of the school. And every state has those options. Are they going to tell them to you and post them on their website? Probably not. But if a student's violent, he's not learning, nor is anybody else.
I am from Virginia. Our school has not had an SLP. Are they required to reimburse me for outside services?
They're not required to reimburse you for something that you did on your own. They are required to implement the IEP. So I would ask for a compensatory package for the services that were denied to my child in speech and language to mitigate the impact and return him back to where he would have been had the IDA violation not occurred. But unless you agree prior to going and getting private services, it's really unlikely that they're going to bust you out a check. They could, but I wouldn't wait on that.
How many students on a caseload do you think is manageable for a teacher?
It completely depends, right? You could have 20 kiddos on your caseload that had a reading fluency deficit, and you can have 2 kiddos that take up every minute of your day that have high needs.
Truth. Can you go over the 2026 requirements, that content, certification, and SPED requirements for elementary?
So I think you're talking about Texas for sure. So starting this academic year, 26-27, you have to be certified in the content area that you're teaching. So if you are a math teacher, you need to be certified in math. And so all of that language you can get from compliance at your DOE or SEA, so the Department of Education for your state, or the state education agency.
If I was going to take one book or one class, which one would I start with?
One book or one class?
Yes.
You would get the book. Get the book, get the book, get the book. You can read it, read it, read it, read it, read it, right? It takes a long time to learn something. And this is your guidance and IEP meetings.
Oh, I'm telling you, it might take you a long time to learn it, but you can't put it down. And then you pick it up again, and then you can't put it down. Because the stories just grab you. Yes. Where it depends. It's a lot easier. Just kidding. My child is moving from self-contained to general education and repeating first grade. Advice for success for us?
I'm sorry. I thought you just said the most restrictive setting to the least restrictive setting. That's a problem. That's a problem. If that was really the need, we don't just go straight. Well, thank you. I don't know what that was, the Backstreet Boys. So self-contained to general ed, you've skipped some steps. So even if a child was inappropriately placed there, we go on a continuum, right? That's page 21 of the federal law book that we offer and talk about and provide and discuss a continuum of services. So if you were all self-contained for the whole year, my recommendation would be for general ed and science and social studies, ancillary classes or electives, and then maybe resource for math and reading and writing to kind of really see where their current levels are to start.
He was in a hybrid class at the end of last year. Does that make any difference?
I don't know what a hybrid is. Is that like gasoline, electricity? Yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know what he was was he in a hybrid class for, content areas or just, like electives like art and PE and my favorite class, lunch.
Ooh, yes. Where can we get the workbook, the new workbook?
They're all right there, just down there at the bottom. TikTok, you don't stop. They are all in the TikTok shop.
I'm 24 years old, and I just learned that I had an IEP growing up. Is it normal for kids not to know?
It actually is. It actually is. When it's done discreetly, I don't, a lot of the kiddos we serve, you wouldn't know generally that they had an educational need. There are 9 specific learning disabilities. I think you all know how I feel about dragging a kid into an IEP meeting. So, your mom might have said, oh, you just get extra help from Mr. Driggers, or Miss Stephanie's going to help you with your writing. And so, if you're going to need assistance and services and supports for the rest of your life, I think it's important that we have that conversation with students. But I don't think every parent needs to come home and go, you're different than your sister. You have a reading deficit. So, it happens.
I'm definitely different than my sister. What if they haven't kept up with introducing my child to gen ed classes as added in the IEP?
They're either delivering the IEP as codified, or you're denying him FAPE. There's nothing else. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like me. Still the truth, right? If a student has medicine, you don't give it to him. Is that a gray area? No. We agreed the student required these services. So an IEP is not some paperwork of suggestions. It's a requirement. And the requirement is delivered as we write the IEP. And that's how the state, counties, and cities receive special ed funding. And they write a letter every year to Congress. Dear Congress, I feel like they have like a little pink well. This is Joe in Alabama. I just want you to know we are going to meet all of our IDA obligations in staffing and development. We just will. And Joe sends off the letter, and the U.S. Department of Education last year gave out $900 billion. Are there any checks and balances? Nope. Nope. I don't want to stir the pot, but I don't mind stirring the pot. So the Department of Education is a pass-through. It just passes money through. There's 14 to 17 offices in the Department of Education, but for 50 years, we've just been sending out money. Like, nobody swings by and go, did you get it? How's it working? Did you put that money in the general ed fund? Did your district put IDA money in the general ed fund? Say it with me. They probably did. And it's solely to be for special educators, service providers, special ed students, and staff. So as somebody was telling me the other day, the only way a district makes money is through special ed funding. So got to follow the paper trail. Like, money is paper. And so, yeah, there's that. It was just a little pot stirring, Cindy. It was more like a swirl to make sure the beans aren't stuck on the bottom. I hate when the beans get stuck at the bottom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's one. It's not a question, but I must read it because here it is. 7-year intervention specialist here. Thank you, Ashley. Love how you're educating us all on these topics. And it's true, because guess what? As us intervention specialists teach everybody else, and we're not taught properly until we have Karen, you can get yourself in some hot water.
So, Cindy, how many years did you teach?
27.
And in 27 years, was it 10, 15, 20 times that the district taught you on special education?
Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me?
Was it 10 times?
Yeah. Let's go with that.
5 times?
Yeah.
Maybe zero? Zero times.
Maybe 0 times.
In 27 years as a leader in her district. There's a reason your district is not training you in special education. They're training the volleyball coaches. They go to conferences all over. They're training the teachers in the STEM project. They go to conferences all year. Oh, principals. They are going to conferences. Leadership at the district level, going to conferences. Why do you think they haven't trained you in special ed law? You tell me. Because they forgot to?
What are your thoughts on using the gap method to determine if a student needs an IEP?
The only gap that I want to hear is the gap band. So I don't know what the gap method is. That sounds wonky and bozo and what? We look at a student comprehensively and say, is what we're delivering in general ed solely going to be effective for him to be successful at school? But I love when we just make stuff up. The gap.
What do you think about the points system for 7th graders on an IEP?
We're making children with disabilities earn points. That's what I have to say about that. But we do it in behavioral settings, right? And we still have in Texas, I won't tell you where, Frisco, Allen, all sorts of places where we use the Boys Town curriculum for behavior. Their most famous graduate, Charles Manson. And the student has to earn between 50 and 100,000 points a day so that they can be with their non-disabled peers. Wow. That seems appropriate. I never said.
How often should our kids with IEPs be reevaluated?
So there's a requirement that the school district do a reevaluation plan every 3 years. And then we look at those areas of reevaluation sections and determine which sections we need reevaluations in.
I requested IEP logs 60 days ago and haven't gotten them. My son didn't have a teacher all year long. What do I do?
So the only request that really counts is when you drive your car over to admin and you walk in there with your driver's license and you say, I would like to get full open records for my child. Here's his full name. Here's his ID number for the last 2 years. And then you have to be in receipt of them within 60 calendar days. When we ask for data, you need to ask for data from legal, from the district.
Para here. Is it normal for paras to switch students half days each day, week, or quarter? Does it work?
Would it work if you switched your biology teacher? The reason we have the same teacher with the same kiddos is so that we can get to know each other. Teachers can get to know the most effective way that they learn, acquisition of learning. Again, there's another reason we rotate paras, right? Certainly I don't want a para, one para all the time on a student's hip. But I had a kiddo that we wanted to go to school and we requested he had a para. And he didn't have any arms. He was born with a condition called TAR syndrome. And the district flipped out, FALIP, flipped out, and said no, but they would rotate 13 paras a day. Okay? For a 3-year-old. You got 13 paras just laying around? Nope. Again, when you're in a meeting, a recommendation, decision-making process, I would just say, Rachel, I hear your recommendation. Would you please screen share that data and then email us a copy of it? We make decisions on one 4-letter word, data. If there's no data, you can't make an informed decision. The parents can't meaningfully participate.
Is assist class the same support as resource class?
Cindy, when you make stuff up, this is what I heard, that's what I saw in my mind. Is assist A space CYST. That's what I saw in my mind when you said that. We can name stuff all the time. There's about 3 settings. Say it with me. General ed, resource, which is required at every campus in America, every campus, and self-contained settings. So we like to make up names, like say functional academics, and then I say life skills. No, it's not, Karen. It's functional academics. It's life skills, right? We like to put really fancy, cool names on it. He's either removed from his non-disabled peers or he's not. So I would ask for, on your website, give a description of the assist class. Because it sounds like it might be a segregation class.
Is it normal for accommodations to end when getting to high school? For example, the extra time allotted for test taking.
Yes, because when you go to high school, your disability, it just evaporates. It just, over the summer, poof. Yeah, because like one day I'll just stop wearing these glasses. It's normal, unfortunately, for parents to be talked into stuff when they fully trust other adults at the table. So if we deliver the accommodation and he's successful, that's the point. Well, we want to push him. Good news, that's not an IDA. Pushing disabled kids. Sounds good, doesn't it? We want to see what he can do. You're about to see what I can do. See, I was doing so good till then, Cindy. I was doing so good. I'm kind of like a rice cooker. You're supposed to let it cool off before you open the lid. My lid's open all the time. It's open.
So we stay out of the splash zone.
Yeah, but who doesn't love rice? So what if it's on the walls and the cabinets? It's still rice. So Ken said, I'm an SLP in Connecticut. Do I have to save my data for a specific number of time? I was told they're personal notes. So the law says under 300-613 that any record maintained, taken, or used in the care and education of a student is not your data. It's actually the parents. And I would save your data for 2 years because that's the furthest a parent could file back in due process. So, but Ken's SLP in Connecticut, we will be at the ASHA National Conference November 18th in Indianapolis. So we would love to see y'all there. And I think that we're going to be in a high traffic area. Corner by the potty. You like close to the potty, don't you, Cindy?
Yes, ma'am, I'm really.
That's where all the ladies will be.
Absolutely. Yeah. What can I do if my son's teachers gave me false data for his 3rd grade year?
Is that over a year ago? If it's over a year ago, nothing. As it relates to a state complaint. If it's 2 years and you want to file a due process hearing, you could use that.
Let's see. Can a para take out a group for testing to read it with no other teacher or chore there? Teacher of record.
If it's just an accommodation, that's fine. So Jill K said, asking again using correct terms, what are your thoughts on ability achievement discrepancy model? So that again, Jill, that's not under IDEA. So I'm not sure what you mean by the ability achievement discrepancy model. I think that you're talking about when some states have the 22.5 points. However, in the reenactment of IDEA in 2004, we actually removed the language severe discrepancy model because it's caused so much problems.
So is the EL classroom SPED programming considered self-contained?
I mean, if they receive their instruction there all day long, I doubt that the EL class is teaching music. I doubt the EL class is teaching science, social studies. They're usually teaching that reading and writing piece. But again, a self-contained is based on a percentage that your student is not with their non-disabled peers.
What is resource in schools that you mentioned?
Yeah, on page 21 of the federal law book, it says we must have resource. So those are classrooms that are a smaller setting, that you work at a slower pace. Usually it's kiddos that are a few years behind academically. However, I've had kids in resource that were above level because they needed a quieter space to work. And then that teacher works on the most profound pieces and those, foundational pieces. Cindy, do you know what time it is?
Yes. Do you?
I do. That's why I said, do you know what time it is?
I do. It is 6:48.
She's so excited, isn't she? All right, do you want to ask a couple more questions, and then we will log off to start our Epic Educator Academy. So if you haven't heard about it,
Yes,
so we've always had Special Education Academy that's at 8 p.m. on Mondays, but about a month and a half ago we started the Epic Educator Academy. It's only for educators. If you do not work in a school district or you're not a retired school district person, you can't join it. But we put the price point really low. It's $27 a month. We're never going to go up on it. We want to be able to train educators that work in schools on appropriateness and implementation of the IEP, and then give you language around how to get things moved through for your kiddos with disabilities. My co-captain is Chana Dixon. She's a special education coordinator in West Virginia. So we would love to have you come.
Absolutely. If they gave me a hard time to introduce BA again, what can I do? Behaviors are getting worse.
So if they gave you a hard time to introduce a behavior, what's the A stand for?
Marissa Nails, just in case it comes in on the bottom. And here's our last one. My son has a one-on-one amendment, but the school never implements it to budget constraints. Thoughts?
I mean, I would file a state complaint. The IEP was not delivered as codified. So when we send the IEP, it's not Rachel gets to do some of it and Alan will figure out what he wants to do. It's a requirement. So, all right, love you guys. If you need anything, let me know. Remember, we have a 2-day live coming up, 2-day live virtual, the 22nd and 23rd of August, and then we'll start our last mastermind of the year. So those of you that are ready to pivot and to be even more amazing as an educator, a provider, a parent, or turning into an advocate, we would love to train you. Thanks, you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Remember, we get it right for the child, we get it right for everyone.